You ever walk into a place thinking you're just there for a cup of coffee, only to walk out with your whole life turned upside down? That's how this story starts. And if you stick with me, you'll see how a quiet night in a nowhere town diner became the first domino in a chain that changed everything I thought I knew about myself, about family, about what really matters. It was a Tuesday night, cold enough that you could see your breath inside your car, the kind of night that makes you think twice before stopping anywhere at all. But something pulled me into Rosie's Diner, that old joint on Route 14 where the neon flickers and the pies always look better than they taste. I slid into a corner booth, pulled my coat a little tighter around me, and tried to disappear, just another tired face among the regulars. Now, I'm James Thornton, yeah, the name on a couple hospital wings, the endowment guy, all that. But that night, none of that mattered. I was just a man with more regrets than memories, hiding out from a past that clung to me like smoke. 3 years ago, I lost my wife, Claire, in a car wreck that ripped the heart out of me and left me wandering, trying to outrun the silence of a too-big house and a future I hadn't signed up for. Rosie's was the kind of place where nobody cared about your money or your grief. Truckers, locals, drifters all rubbing elbows, all just trying to make it to tomorrow. That night, my coffee went cold in my hands, but I kept sitting there, staring at nothing, wishing for something to break the loop running in my head. And that's when Emily Harper walked over, apron stained, hair pulled back, eyes tired in that way you only get from carrying the world on your shoulders for too long. She couldn't have been more than 28, but life had already left its marks on her. She poured my refill, offered a soft smile, and said, "Hi, sir. My mother has a ring just like yours." Simple words, right? But they hit me so hard I nearly dropped my cup. The ring, Claire's ring, was the one thing I never took off. Silver, etched with an ivy pattern, a promise from a time when forever still seemed possible. Emily touched the chain around her neck, showing me her own ring, nearly identical. Suddenly the past snapped back into focus, sharp and bright. "Your mother's name?" I managed to ask, heart pounding. She hesitated, like she wasn't sure why I'd care. "Mary. Mary Harper." Now, you know how sometimes you get that chill down your spine, like the universe is trying to tell you something? Yeah, that happened. Mary Harper had been Claire's best friend growing up. I hadn't thought about her in decades. Not since the wedding, not since the slow slide into addiction took her from all of us. It all came rushing back, her wild laugh, her bright eyes, the way Claire always tried to save her, even when it was hopeless. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the edge of my cheap motel bed, ring heavy on my finger, memories swirling. I remembered Claire and Mary as girls, running wild in our tiny town, making promises, sharing secrets, thinking nothing could ever pull them apart. But life did what it does, it chipped away at those promises. And in the end, Mary disappeared, leaving only heartbreak in her wake. Claire had tried, God, how she tried, but Mary's demons were too strong. The next evening, I found myself back at the diner, not even sure what I was looking for. Maybe just a connection. Maybe forgiveness for something I didn't even understand yet. Emily greeted me with a cautious smile, the same quiet strength in her eyes. We talked a little at first about the rings, about her mom, about her own struggles. Single mother, veteran, bills stacking up, dreams on hold. And always, underneath, that silver ring around her neck, linking her to a past she never really knew. As the days passed, I kept coming back. It was like gravity. We talked more about Claire, about Mary, about the twists life throws at you. Emily told me how she lost her mom to addiction, how at 16 she found herself alone, clinging to a ring and a goodbye note that just said, "I'm sorry, Em. Keep this safe." She enlisted to escape, came back with a little girl of her own, Lily, and started the hard work of building a life from the rubble. One night, when the place was nearly empty, I finally asked the question that had been gnawing at me. "Emily, when was your mother born?" She looked puzzled, but answered, 1968. What? The math tumbled in my head. Emily was born in 97, right around the time Claire and I were still young, still believing we could save the world. But Mary had always been in and out, calling at odd hours, her voice shaky, her secrets thick in the air. "Did your mother ever mention my wife?" Claire Thornton? I asked, bracing myself. Emily nodded. All the time. Said they were like sisters. She got sad when she talked about her. Said she let her down. I showed her an old photo of Claire smiling, young, the ring flashing on her finger. Emily's eyes filled with tears. That's her. That's the Claire my mom talked about. Something deeper than grief settled over Maya, gnawing suspicion. I hired a private investigator, the kind of guy who knows how to keep his mouth shut. A few days later, he handed me a thin file and a look that said, "You're not going to like what's inside." The birth certificate named some drifter as Emily's father. But then, tucked away in county records, a letter. "I'm pregnant, Claire." It's his. I can't tell him. He's married to you now. I'm sorry. Signed, Mary. Let me back up assess if you've ever had your world tilt on its axis. You know that feeling. Claire knew. She knew Mary was pregnant, knew the child was mine, and kept it from me. Maybe she wanted to protect me. Maybe our marriage, or maybe Mary just begged her for one last mercy. Whatever the reason, the truth was a wrecking ball. I couldn't face Emily right away. I wandered the town, the letter burning a hole in my pocket, angry at Claire, at Mary, at myself. But mostly I was scared. I'd missed her whole life, missed every moment a father should have been there. When I finally walked into Rosie's again, Emily saw the truth written all over me. We sat in my corner booth, rings glinting under tired lights. I told her everything: the letter, the lies, the love, the regret. She listened, jaw set, tears running down her face. "You're saying you're my father?" The words hung there, heavy. All I could do was nod, tell her I didn't know, swear to her that I never had a clue. She walked out. I didn't blame her. You can't drop a bomb like that and expect someone to just forgive you on the spot. Days passed. I kept coming back, always in that same booth, hoping she'd find it in herself to talk again. One snowy night, she approached my table, not sitting, just holding out her mother's ring. "I'm angry," she said, "but I don't want to be anymore. I want to know you, and I want you to know Lily. She deserves a grandfather." We started small coffee, a little conversation, slow steps towards something like family. I helped her with bills, not out of guilt, but because I finally could. I met Lily 3 years old, a wild mess of curls and giggles, with her grandmother's eyes. I saw Claire in her smile, Mary in her stubbornness. Emily started dreaming again, night classes, plans for the future. I funded a community center in Mary's name, a place for people fighting the battle she lost. A year later, we sat together in Rosie's, Lily coloring a house with a big tree out front, Emily across from me, both our rings shining. The diner was the same, but we weren't. The secrets that nearly tore us apart were now the threads that stitched us together. I realized then, peace isn't something you buy or inherit. It's something you build, one honest conversation at a time. So, let me ask you, what would you do if the truth came knocking at your door, asking you to forgive, to start again, to build something new out of what's been broken? Would you open the door or keep it locked? I'd love to hear your take. Drop a comment, share your story. Let's talk about what makes a family: blood, love, or the courage to face the truth when it matters most.